New gavel here.
No, we got her one. It's fantastic.
Oh, today is what is it, August the 1st already.
6th.
That's 6th, Wednesday.
I was checking you, Richard.
No.
I need approval for the board minutes of July 16th.
I'll make a motion to approve board minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you, it's unanimous. And a motion to approve the payment of claims.
I'll make a motion and we pay the claims.
Second motion.
All those that are in favor, please raise your hands. It's unanimous. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, August the 20th, 2025 at 4 p.m. in this room. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Old business. Do we have any old business? Okay. New business. Need a motion to approve the Peru sewage work SRF disbursement request number 46 to Hazen and Sawyer, attachment 6A.
Make them. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve SRF disbursement.
I'll second it.
Okay. Questions, comments? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Approve Peru sewage works SRF disbursement request number 47 to Lockmuller Group, attachment 6B.
I'll make a motion to approve attachment 6B as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Oh, I didn't hear
Dave
it.
seconded it,
Okay,
sorry.
thank you. All those in favor, does anyone have any questions regarding this one, 6B?
Pay.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous.
So that's, for the record, we spent over 50% of the 41,880,000 for this project. So we're just over 21 million.
Thank you. Let's see, that was for the 16. Okay. Need a motion to please approve of Peru Waterworks revised SRF disbursement request number 7 to Wessler Engineering, attachment 6C.
I'll make a motion that we accept attachment 6C.
Second.
Questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Need a motion to approve the emergency power upgrade engineering attachment 6D.
I'll make a motion to approve attachment 6D as stated.
Second.
Questions, comments?
So this is for two separate things. Little background, our black start generator that is increasingly costs us more and more every year in maintenance. And the original intent of that was for us to get capacity payments through IMPA for a resource, a generation resource, a peaking resource in the system. And so in essence, that the generator, the cost of that generator paid for itself while the power plant was here and we were getting that. And the second reason for that was to actually start the power plant up with the generator. So we'd start one unit up and then use if the power was out for Peru, we'd start one unit up with the generator and use the parasitic load to start the second unit up to bring both units up over a 8-hour period. It's 10 times too big for the office building and the water plant. And we've had nothing but problems out of it. So Mike and Jamin have been working, trying to figure out a solution to that. And part of that is the water plant just needs its own generator. It needs to be more reliable. And the problem with that is there's not a switch gear to operate everything in the water plant because it didn't have to, because the black start generator would give power to the entire building. But the only connection we have in there now is just for, what is it for? I don't even, it's for some,
Couple pumps, no, one pump in the SCADA.
yeah, it won't even operate the plant. So we have to re-engineer the switch and switch gear, and then engineer what type of voltage they need and how much load they need for that. So that's Wessler's going to do that, and that cost was $40,000. And then at Cass Street, and then we'll get something on the electric side here moving forward. Budget next year, and that'll do the office and the garage back in the back. The second part of this is Cass Street has an automatic transfer switch in the building, and when that was built and put in, it was too constricted, and it's really unsafe. There's not enough room to get away. If you were to throw that transfer switch in manually, which is what we have to do now on occasion because it doesn't work right, we could be way safer about it. And so that needs to be re-engineered. We need to replace it so that it actually works and we don't have to throw it in manually. And part of that is to move it outside of the building and then enclosed its own enclosure, I guess. So that's the engineering for that's an additional $10,000.
So the way we've been doing it now is once we get power back from the electric department, we have to have a lineman come out, kill the power. We manually move the switch gear to where it has to be so no one gets hurt. And then close all the stuff, and then they put it back in, which is just an inefficient, terrible, expensive way to do it.
And not ideal. Not ideal. We need something that's automatic
They're
or,
called automatic transfer switches. It'd be nice if they just.
yeah, maybe it was automatic.
And it's 20 years old.
Yeah. So, and then there's an OSHA regulation where you have to have the such high a calorie clothing on, and basically for that one it's the space suit with those. If you're enclosed in that building and you can't get away from it, you have to have that on to put it back in. So we need to take care of it and make it safer for our guys.
What happens to this large generator that you've been using here?
Mike has been leading the charge on this, looking at trying to sell it, find somebody to broker it. It's not really worth much, unfortunately, but we think we'll be able to get something out of it.
How old is it?
Ooh, good question. I don't have an answer.
5,
25 years, so 99, 2000?
26.
Yeah.
It's older than that.
So it's approaching of its life anyway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just,
Diesel?
it's diesel, yep. It's a Kohler and a cat. Is a diesel a cat? Big cat? And the parts are hard to find, and every time we call them out, it's $5,000 to $10,000, and just for them to find it, and it's a burden. It's
So this is just for the engineering, but you have an idea of what the overall cost is going to be once we get engineering.
we do, yeah.
$925,000.
But that will, part of the engineering is, well, how big of a unit do we actually need? And we kind of know, Mike kind of knows how big the unit is for this building that we need. And we're gonna move it. Part of the problem is also, we had the pump house, the river pump house. It had its separate transformers, and we had to feed that as well. So we've got how many switches do we have back there, Mike? It's ridiculous how many we have back there to make that black start operational, and transformers. So we have all this equipment in between the endpoints, and if they fail, just something as simple as the battery for the controller will fail because we don't use them anymore. And so we're going to move that one up to the building, closer to the building. We decided whether it's going to be natural gas or, I think the building's going to be natural gas, but that one will have to be diesel.
So the cost of the engineering that you're proposing now is an out-of-budget item.
Correct.
Yeah,
The cost of replacing those once the engineering is done would be an in-budget item for next
For
year.
next year, for 26.
For next year's
Correct.
budget.
is that 450,000
Yes.
for the
Yeah, that's
water?
in the letter.
And 75,000 for the switch? Right?
75,000 is low. would be my guess.
Once the engineer sizes it.
Yeah,
up,
once
up
the
it.
Almost
engineer gets
600.
all that done.
It'd be almost, it's gonna run about $650,000 total then.
But we don't have a
I'm
price on it yet.
Seeing it,
We don't have a price on it yet. That's your estimate, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know. What was the
Well,
electric one?
It's all
Mike,
coming
do you
under
remember?
capital improvement plan.
We're gonna be around 100 just for this building. But there's some rewiring we have to do on this building as well.
Before you budget next year, the engineering will be back and you already have an approximate
Right.
range. And then it
Size.
would go out to bid.
We're planning on putting it out to bid towards the end of this year, so that we'll be able to order the generator and the switchgear, because they're months sometimes out. So we wanna be able to get this done next year. And with the water plant, we don't wanna go off of historical data, because what we have to plan for is, you know, in general, we only run one pump at a time over there, but what if we had to run 3? So that's what we need the engineers to, okay, we got this, and this running, and you have to do a backwash, which is a 3,000 gallon a minute pump. What do you need?
Yeah, and so I assume that we are anticipating the changes coming with the long-term control plan, that whatever we put in would also handle that load, right? To bring things over from across the river.
Two totally different, we're talking water plant and wastewater.
Just that might be a whole different thing.
Right, that's,
There can be redundancy there too. There can be a generator.
we have a large regenerator already over there that will service. Actually, it's too big, but it doesn't need to be replaced. That one will work. And then Cass Street also has a generator on site that it's exercised every month.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
if there's another lift station for the long-term, there's supposed to be one, it's not supposed to be very big. If we can service it with a tilt-behind generator, we probably will. We have 4 or 5 of those.
And so to your point, this engineering is for budgeting for next year. So we're in the budgeting process of how we want to do things. We don't want to take a guess and that not work. We wouldn't want it to work yet. Yeah, and Cass Street is just an upgrade, a basic upgrade.
Okay. Are we ready to vote on the approval of the emergency power? Upgrade engineering. E. Okay. Please show your hands if you approve of this. It's unanimous. E, long-term control plan update.
Thank you. The offer for land acquisition given to the landowner was, as we reported last meeting, was given to the owner. The owner on 7/31 stated the offer was too low and refused to counter offer or negotiate until a higher offer was made on our part. The conversation between our engineer and us was basically, well, we're not going to just keep saying, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about this? Because I mean that's
Negotiate with yourself.
yeah, right. Like we'll keep going. Let's see how I can go. And that's kind of what he wanted us to do. His response to us or to our engineer, to our group is, we're perfectly willing to work towards a mutually acceptable solution, but we must be made whole, and the current offer does not accomplish that end. As we determine the highest and best use, along with the value that we create, then we can revisit the topic of a counter offer. So it's not refusing completely to negotiate. He's just saying that they want to review it more. But part of our response is, if we're not going to be able to negotiate, we're going to go straight to eminent domain condemnation of the property. So that, I don't know that he has that in his hand at this point. We need to follow up on that to give you more information.
We had an appraisal done, right?
Yes. Two.
Yes, we have appraisals in hand, right?
So what's the going rate right now?
I don't have what the appraisal is in front of me.
Can't
Price
remember
value
what
of
it
the 2
was.
empty
Under
parcels was-
36,000 for one part, and 36.
We did. We talked about
36,000 for the
it.
other part. The last time we talked about this, I was in understanding he was going to get an appraiser to appraise it from
Correct.
out of town.
That was his response to the engineering group, and we haven't heard anything whether he's done that or not, so. You know, we can't wait forever because the entire project hinges on this property, and I believe he knows that, so that's kind of his issue.
Are you dealing directly with him or through his legal counsel?
With him.
He doesn't have legal counsel, does he?
Yeah, I was curious.
Not that we know of, not that he's presented to us.
So just out of curiosity, Josh, I might know the answer. If we proceed to eminent domain or condemnation, is that through us or is that through the city?
I would have to,
Well,
a good question for him.
it doesn't really matter who, whether it comes to the city's name or the utility's name. I mean, well, it's essentially the same
You're gonna handle
entity.
either one, right?
Yeah, and regardless, there's most certainly
We have the right, though, to proceed with.
we'd have to show that it's a compelling governmental interest in doing so, and because of the magnitude and scope of the project and financials it would cost doing it anywhere else. And
I just wasn't sure if it's something that had to go to the city council to do, or if it's something that we handled here.
it should be able to be handled through the board. That to proceed with eminent domain does not necessarily have to go to the council. Now, if the city was going to, it would have. If the city was doing it, it would ultimately go through the council, but the checks and balances and nexus of establishing the board, in my opinion, wouldn't have to go through the council.
What's the impact that, you know, he's got on that business on the corner? He had like 18 months left in his rent. Would that be a problem? You know, can you, you know, if you get eminent domain, do you still have to honor that 18 months? Or?
So, yes, businesses are, it's not only the value of the land that you'd have to consider. When you're eminent domaining, you also have to consider the economic impact and whatnot as well. And, well, the tenant would be entitled to something which could be offset from what the landowner receives as well.
That he's entitled to some sort of relocation.
Yeah.
And that was part of what we were gonna be offering.
Has he got a lease on that for 18 months then?
They were
When they
entitled to
started
that.
the
So
salary,
then if
he
we
had
go
18
that route,
months.
does he
They said he had
pretty much
18
just
months
get what
left.
we initially offered, or does
Fair
that?
market value.
Well, the court would appoint 3 appraisers to do it, which
Okay,
last time I seen an eminent domain came from NDOT along 31, and yeah, the court appoints 3 appraisers, and essentially it's just the averages of those 3 appraisals, so.
okay.
And he still contends that because the Napa building sold for 600,000 or whatever it was, but that his property should be valued similar to that. The problem is that Napa was a business with inventory and an ongoing income, and this is property vacant and then a pole building that has rental income for him. So you can't compare the two, and I don't know that any judge or any appraiser would compare the two. So yeah, so it's just at this point we feel like he's just kind of reaching and expecting us to negotiate with ourselves, as you said, and so but he's being notified that we are going to move forward with condemning the property, and so he either needs to negotiate or we're going to move forward soon. But that has about a 6-month time frame. That's what Lark Mueller estimates,
Probably.
4 to 6 months. So what that does, continuing the kind of the long-term control plan update, what that does is that pushes our closing date into third fiscal quarter for the state through the IFA, and that's in the end of March. So for closing on the bonds, that may not be a horrible thing, simply because the interest rates still haven't come down, and the original rate study was on a lower interest rate, and the interest rate hasn't come down. So now we're looking at whatever our rate is now, plus the extra $4 or $5 million in the rough order of magnitude costs that Bone gave us a couple weeks ago. Now we're looking in the $6 million mark, what we need. So that may not be a horrible thing to wait a little bit. Trying to find the silver lining here.
Ain't no silver lining.
So obviously the federal government, if you're following anything,
Trump is pushing the Fed to cut rates, which I wouldn't be surprised if there's a change in.
So what are you waiting for? What's stopping you from proceeding now with a combination of eminent domain?
Nothing.
Okay, so we're ready to go.
Yep.
Begin the 4 to 6 month process.
Yeah.
Is that something you need board action on?
I need the information as far as how we start, paperwork, everything, for the next meeting for us.
So you're talking 2 weeks from now before we'd meet again, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless you wanna, if you wanna make a proposal that we move forward with it directly, if you wanna do that now, I'm happy to.
I'd make
I
that
think we
proposal.
should consider.
I think you're gonna have to begin the process. If it's something happens between now and then, that's great, we can be in agreement, but if not, we need to begin the process. You know, that 4 to 6 month timeline has to start,
Yeah.
or we're gonna end up in trouble at the other end.
Like you said, Mary, what are we waiting for, right? Well, I've got a proposal on the floor.
Motion made,
We,
proceed.
we have to we have to do anything, amend the agenda.
We're
We have
in,
to amend the meeting.
we're currently in the process of E, which is something that doesn't have to be
Right.
E, which doesn't have to be voted on or closed is an issue.
Right.
So I think we can
Amend the agenda.
Amend it to F.
just amend it to add another item to make a proposal to
Make sure we do it right.
state the motion and
Can I second that?
Okay, we need someone to make a motion to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda for an item F to include a proposal to move forward on the eminent domain process,
Second.
or however that needs to be worded
Second that.
correctly.
What about, do you want a name for eminent domain, against?
I don't think we
Those
need
Canal
to
Street
You don't wanna
do
use
that,
this
yeah,
now.
we don't need to be specific on that.
We just,
Well, it wouldn't hurt to.
Well,
We're
but
just-
Give me
it's
some kind
also,
of word for description.
Alice will make it specific.
Yeah.
we're just.
to move forward with eminent domain,
On
it is a
the needed property
good way to,
On
on Canal Street.
Initiate when needed.
and then we would vote on that, and then you would make your motion for
So
that.
we have a second for the amendment,
Yes.
right?
We have a second for the amend, so we need to vote on amending the agenda.
Okay,
So we'll vote on the amendment.
We need to vote to amend the agenda.
Yes.
we have a second, so all we have to do is take a vote.
Okay,
All
you've
those in
already got your
Mhm.
second. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand,
Okay.
it's unanimous.
All right,
Now I make the proposal that we begin the process for condemnation and eminent domain on the Canal Street project on the property we've been discussing.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, proposal.
that's why it's
6
recorded.
months.
That's right.
And then I feel like we've already done the discussion on that, unless we have more to add, so then we'd be able to just go ahead and vote.
So that would be EF, is that part of F or just G?
That is F, yes, that's what we're voting on.
Okay. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Appreciate the direction. So along those lines, we have asked the state for another $6 million in grants for the project. We'll see, 600, we phrase it as 6 million plus. So we'll see what they have when it comes towards the end, we'll know. And again, we're still trying to get the project down to that, into that $70 million range, where that's what the rates were set at. So that's all I have for the updates.
Number 7, city administration update. That would be our illustrious mayor.
So, long-term control plan update is complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Few things, splash pad opening will come very soon. If you haven't been by the new splash pad, please drive down. It looks phenomenal. We have a walkthrough and a punch list to do on the 14th of August with DNR, and then soon after that we'll announce the formal grand opening of the park. Irrigation update at the golf course. We're about halfway through the project. We are going to bring city water to the clubhouse by means of the new system. They're going to be running lines close to the clubhouse, so extending a line to the clubhouse will be easily done, and that way we won't have to rely on the well and the problems that we've had with the well for many years. City is currently in budget discussions. We've had our first round with all the department heads, so we'll proceed with that throughout the next weeks. The Peru Apartments LLC TIF agreement was approved at the City Council meeting on Monday. They will be calling this project Oakdale Flats. Peru Apartments LLC is just a corporate name that they're proceeding under. So you'll see progress on that fairly soon. Sunset Ridge up on Duke Street is scheduled to go before the council in August for reimbursement initiatives. The grade separation study is complete with American Structure Point to determine if we need an overpass or an underpass, where that would be located. I have arranged a meeting with all those involved and NDOT because one of the locations would probably be on Charlie Street, and since that is a state road, we want to make sure they are on board before we move too far forward and get any input from them that we might need to get. We are working on the finalization of the First Farmers Bank and Trust development project. We have a developer who has made a proposal for that building. We have to make the financial gap agreement for that, but it would result in a restaurant downstairs as well as the upper two floors would be higher end apartments. The Bourne End water issue. I know that the water was turned off for them yesterday. I made a phone call and an email to the contact that we had for that trailer park owner. I have not gotten a response from the phone or from the email. Made arrangements with Helping Hands to have cases of bottled water delivered to the residents today. Tomorrow we will be setting up a 2,500 gallon dump tank somewhere in that park and giving the residents basically 5-gallon buckets so they can bring water from that dump tank into their homes, fill the toilets, and be able to flush their toilets until this gets resolved. We will have waivers available for the residents to sign, making sure they understand that that water is non-potable, they can't drink it. It's just for use for their toilets. And then, of course, we all know about the Speedway Slammer project out at Grissom. There's a lot of chatter going on now about what is it, when does it start. I'm getting requests from news services to give some response. Quite frankly, I don't know anything about it other than what we've all read on social media. So the governor, I believe, didn't do us much of a service by announcing this without first letting the local officials know that it was happening. So we're a little bit behind the ball. So we'll deal with those as they come forward. That's all I have. You have any questions for me?
I don't know what the Speedway project out at Gerson, what,
The Miami County Correctional Facility, the prison,
okay,
the governor has agreed with the Department of Homeland Security to house illegal detainees before they get deported, up to 1,000 beds. So
they've got that many empty beds right now.
Oh, way more than that,
Apparently.
yeah. They do. Yeah,
Two or three pods empty, from
Yeah.
what I
They've
understand.
got
yeah, I don't.
several
That's the
pods.
one thing we don't know is who's paying what, where the money comes from, who's gonna provide the guard services. None of that is known at this time. So we're just kind of, I don't want to say making it up as we go, but I'm not going to have a conversation with a news network unless I have some information that I know is correct. So
It's a state
that's
agency,
my position.
you know what I mean? It's a state agency and
Yeah,
it's outside of Peru.
I get it.
And
But
the county commissioners should be involved as well, and if they haven't been, that's
county
shame on them.
commissioners,
Same, not on the commissioners, but the
EMS.
people that should be moving forward, yeah.
county commissioners received no prior notice. Neither did Ethan Manning. Neither did the mayor. So looks like this is where we're at.
As far as how that impacts us at the utilities, you know, they've been staffed since the end of 20. So, and it sounds like, if I had to guess, I would say it's not a permanent thing, but who knows? So we're built to serve that entire jail. So
Okay. And
for us, we're good to go.
and that's why I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I didn't know if some of that system had been turned off or separated. If it's something we needed to, Peru Utilities needed to get back online.
No, because the potential was always there. You know what I mean? Now it'll change how they operate a little bit because they've kind of adjusted that low flow on the wastewater side, and how the water plant operates and fills. Probably they'll have to fill more and make sure that tower is full, more full,
Okay.
and remains full. But we're built for that. So
We've been being told since they reduced the population there that they were coming back. So we've been operating for the past 5 years under the assumption that the prisoners were coming back.
Right, the issue has been the state's had a hard enough time keeping the people, staff they have, let alone finding additional to house. So,
and now you're talking federal money. So who knows? You know, it could be federal employees and not.
From what I've heard, it's a completely separate company that will be running all of that. It will not be the staff that is currently there. It's completely separate.
So yeah, but so as far as we go, we're fine. We might have to make a few operational adjustments, but just because of the increased flow, but I think we'll be fine.
There was a preliminary, well, there was an article in Fox 59 today about this whole thing, and they have a second one designated in Florida for 5,000 beds, and they're calling that Alcatraz, or Alcatraz or Alligator Alley, or Alligator Alcatraz, whatever the heck it is. But yeah, so and it was buried in the big beautiful bill, 80,000 of these beds to help with this. So.
That's my update, Mary.
okay. Thank you. Her turn. That would be our city attorney's.
well, get started on getting everything ready for the petition or the complaint for eminent domain. Getting everything lined up in order for that, something to help you get going on. I'll be busy, so.
What's the worst case scenario we can expect? On
Complete chaos. No,
6 more months.
timing, I mean, or the judge determined that we, not a legitimate public interest in the land, not be able to acquire it, which would definitely cause some big ramifications and problems, so.
We have faith in you to make sure
Yeah.
that doesn't happen.
And we got plenty of engineers and everything else that can testify as to the governmental need.
I mean, and it comes down to the simple fact is if we have to move property, we gotta start over. We're probably not gonna meet our 2028 deadline, and it's gonna cost millions more.
Seems like public
We're-
interest to me.
We're already, we're already,
Get ready.
we would be considered, a disadvantaged community. We are on the lead service line side too, and, so we're already in that bucket, and that will push us further into that bucket. So that's our defense in a nutshell, and I don't know how we lose that. Plus we got Dustin. It's 101%.
Okay, thank you.
And the utility should have received the first payout by now for the DuPont settlement.
whatever.
PFAS, yes, out at Grissom Water.
What account did that go to? Grissom? The Grissom water.
Yes, has to,
Gotcha.
because it can only come out, stuff can only be charged to them.
Okay, looks like number 9, managers report.
Thank you. So at a near future meeting, this is part of our budgeting process, and we will be proposing creating a new position, a locator's position for the electric department. Currently, we have a contract with USIC who does all of the electric locating. For water, they do water and wastewater. They do in-house locating on their side. They have a full-time dedicated employee to locate lines, water and wastewater lines, and stormwater lines, obviously. On the electric side, they've used USIC for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. I couldn't even tell you. And just for 4 years ago, in 2021, the cost of that locating service was $56,870.27. That was in 2021. So it was like $4,700 a month. As of this year, we're going to hit $96,000 in locating fees, an increase of 69% in 4 years. Now that has, we have more locates right now, and so that has a little bit to do with it, but their cost and that contract has an escalator and it keeps escalating. So on average, it's about $10,000 more a year per year over the last 4 years. For $96,000 to $98,000, that's an employee with all benefits, overtime, healthcare, retirement, for everything, clothing. That's a full-time employee. So Mike's kind of went back in and created a job description for a locator, but in a nutshell, in the wintertime, it's not necessarily a full-time job. So like Jamin's guys will go on big crews and do maintenance and things during the winter when there isn't a lot of locating to do. So Mike, part of that job description is going to be helping the line department. So and doing inventory, we need somebody in the shop more full-time that maintains inventory. And so this position will be for that as well. So we're getting a full-time employee for the same cost. We're getting part-time work out there doing locates. It kind of Mike talked about the project out there that kind of led to this was the tip. We're done. We can't do this anymore for the safety of our people and our contractors.
Was the new building that's being built on 31 by the water tower out there. There was a line got damaged. The contractor called in locates like they're supposed to. The locator went out, painted from a riser to a manhole to another riser. Allegedly got a faint signal further away from the manhole and ignored it. And the faint signal he got was the feeder line for Miami County Correctional, for AZI, for Spectronics, and some of the Air Force infrastructure. So when the line got damaged, it dropped our circuit out there, and the prison had been having issues with their other circuit previously, their own unrelated to Peru Utilities, but on their side. So they only had one feeder at the time, and it got dropped out, so they switched over to generators, had to go into lockdown. And when we discussed this with USIC, they basically said, well, it's not our problem, because we didn't have prints from your system. And they have our mapping, they have our GIS system, and I have spent the last 4 years trying to make contact with USIC to write the print situation, because I don't know what they use. And I've asked them what they've used, and they just kind of told me, well, we don't have the prints. So that instance, and then digging into the numbers of what we're actually paying now, to me, it made a lot more sense to bring it in-house. We feel like we can have someone that's better trained and more comfortable with our coverage area and with electric utilities in general, and we can make it safer for the employees, for contractors, for customers, for anyone that uses our electricity that needs to have electricity, maybe not have circuits get dropped out. So.
And they have paper prints, they have PDF files of our entire system, and they have access to our GIS system. So they have all of that. It's just not, if they can't search this poll number and it come up, they don't want to mess with it. And that's kind of been their thing all along. And this is not the first time this has happened where they can't figure something out and Mike has to go out there and locate it. Like, well, we don't know where it's at, and it's right here, So it's just safer for all involved to do it ourselves. And it's not necessarily an increase in wages or overall cost. There might be some things in there that we need to look at that we'll probably have to talk about later, as far as maybe having the possibility of having a lineman do that full time, kind of a sunset type of position, because it is such hard work and it's so hard on their bodies that they can't be in a bucket when at 60 years old, but they have the knowledge of the entire system and how to get into a transformer, how to plug into that transformer and be able to locate and run the lines and tone those. But again, I'm just trying to give you kind of a heads up. This is what we're thinking, and we've kind of stepped ahead of our skis a little bit. We've already told them we're done as of January 1st, 2026. Now we can come back. We can step back from that. There's no formal, because they were obviously like, well, we don't want to lose your business, but so any questions on that? Yes, sir.
I'm assuming we already have the equipment because you guys do locates on other stuff.
We would probably have some newer equipment, but we have a lot of that equipment already. Yeah.
And then you said maybe get someone certified. I'm assuming that would just be whatever the certification training course cost, or
we would have to have them trained. We haven't necessarily.
We have Mike Walsh is very proficient with locating. Our meter technician, Todd Eckelbarger, was a locator prior to coming to utilities. So I feel like we've got enough in-house knowledge to, we'll probably bring, when we determine, we'll upgrade our equipment, because what we have is vintage. So when we upgrade that, we'll probably have the manufacturer send us a rep to.
Okay.
And these guys know the system.
Yeah.
Now, if we get somebody from outside, then obviously we'll have to have somebody with them. But
right.
You'll probably get some applications from USIC employees.
Under their contract, we cannot
Can't do that.
take them for 6 months. Yeah.
So it would mean a new vehicle as well.
Not sure on that yet. Not sure on that yet. We've reduced our vehicles. Our insurance, what was it on our insurance renewal, was 6. We reduced our vehicles by, I think, 6 over the past few years. So if we need another one, we'll do that. But yeah.
Short term, there's one vehicle in the next 2 years that we plan to position that has a vehicle that would be eliminated.
Yeah. We're talking about our local mobile home park. They were shut off due to non-payment on August 5th, yesterday morning at 10 o'clock. The residences were notified 2 weeks prior. Technically, we don't have to notify anybody but the owner of the property, but they were notified 2 weeks prior. The state was informed for 30 days prior. State Health Department was informed 30 days prior. The county health department was informed, and their past due balance isn't all that high at this point, $6,336 and I believe 68 cents. But the September 1st cutoff, if it gets turned back on, is another $14,158.19 on top of whatever they're accruing daily right now. They had a leak of about 3,000 gallons an hour. We tried to contact as many people as we could. The owner, the park maintenance guy, whatever the heck he's called, and we couldn't get a hold of anybody that would return our calls. And a concerned citizen fixed that 3,000 gallon an hour leak because they found it. So kudos to that concerned citizen on his own time that did that to help the residents out. But now they're up to about 1,000 gallons an hour now. So they've got another leak somewhere. Again, just seems like they don't have any interest in fixing it. And it doesn't make any sense. You would think there's some ulterior motive here to sell the park or get everybody pushed out and make it Peru Utilities as the bad guy. So the AG has been called. We've encouraged every resident that has called us to call the Attorney General. We gave them the number from last time when we met the Attorney General out there. And they've now formally requested all information regarding the account and the account holder. So that's good. We're waiting. Dustin and Leah and I communicated back and forth on how that needs to happen. They offered to get a subpoena, and we said that's probably what we should do, just so we're not the ones that screw it all up and they go, well, that was information you shouldn't give them, or we're trying to go by the book and make sure that somebody holds these people accountable for the poor citizens they are. So that's where we're at there. We've had no additional communication, just since I gave you the number. Hopefully maybe you can, we've had they won't return our phone calls. Supposedly there's a new owner. We've all been down that road, so supposedly there is a potential new owner. But I think that it was only a potential new owner until they figured out how much money they owed on the water and the taxes, so the lien that we have on it, on the wastewater side. So,
did you name what was the name of that park?
Can't use name.
I'd rather not. Well, I'm giving information out on that account, and I'd rather not give the account name.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Josh, I thought the potential new owner put a big chunk down a few months ago.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
Well, that was the previous, or the
Oh,
guy
that
who
was the
owned it
previous
was
owner.
selling it.
Yeah, and then there was a new buyer on contract, and we got a deposit, and then we're right back where we are. Because I think it's still who owns it is still up for grabs, and unfortunately it's 15 people, 15 families, 15 homes out there. They're the ones that are suffering. So sounds like the AG's pushing hard now, which is good. I hope they do. Met with Baker Tilly and Wesley Engineering about the lead service line financing and the mandates for the next 10 years where we have to do all the lead service lines. So we've gotten the first $5 million, and that project is moving forward. And then of course the $980,000 for the water filtration plant. But there is more. The SRF's committed more money along the same lines for the next 2 years. They feel like that they have the funding for that. So we are going to move forward to get the project an additional $5 million. We're going to try to close on in April of next year, or May. No, 14th of May is when we have to have it. We have to have the closing, we believe, somewhere around the 14th of May. And we'd be crazy to not go for another $2.5 million forgivable and $2.5 million at 0%, because it's only going to be there for another year or two. It may not be there for the second year, but they're going to try to have it available for the second year. So that would be $10 million towards the 28 $8 million worth of lead service line replacements we estimated that we need to do. Now, the good news is we saved $200,000 for our realignment and how we do operations on the water side of the water plant side. At 35 years, 0%, at $2.5 million, the cost of financing is around $70,000 to $80,000 a year. We very well could not have to go back to the council or to you to say we need a rate increase to fund this $5 million. Now, don't quote me. I mean, don't stamp that in stone. But that is just our initial figures, our initial estimation. So that's a good thing. And then quite possibly, our lease is done. Our lease payments on all the meters is complete. I believe our last payment's in 27, 6 months into 27, July of 27. That frees up another $200,000 a year. So the third round, if we can get $2.5 million at zero and $2.5 million forgivable, we may not also have to raise rates for that as well. So we positioned ourselves really well here if this falls into place. So that's $15 million with one rate increase, the one we just did over the next. That was 2 years through 27, I think. But no further rate increases. So we're pretty fortunate with that. That's if the financing and the forgivable falls into place over the next 2 years. The caveat is we got to spend 75% of the current money by the time we close on the $5 million for the next money. So I challenge Westler to start spending some money and get us a value for our money, obviously, get us what we bid out, but start spending our money. Let's get moving on this project because we're doing our people a disservice by missing out on this money here. So that's some good news, I think. Any questions on that? We'll keep you posted moving forward. Now we got the lull months through the winter, but we'll be moving forward with this. Matter of fact, I just got an email from Adam on that. Yeah. Anything interesting in there?
I hadn't.
It just flashed over to. And just for your viewing pleasure, this is out of the Indy Star on July 24th. You want to hand one more? I think I got enough. This is from a Citizens Action Coalition, so I don't necessarily always agree with them. They're pretty fantastical about their claims and stuff, but it's just interesting. Yeah, it's just interesting that there's a lot of truth in this article. I shouldn't have to say that there's truth in an article, but there's a lot of truth in this article. One of the statements that kind of hits me, obviously, is on average a 17.5% increase in electric bills over the last year in Indiana. So that's in Indiana, not a national average. And one of the things is their statement of this is an ongoing trend of continuing to use ratepayers as economic development tools while inappropriately shifting all of the investment risk of running utility away from utilities themselves and their investors onto shareholders. And that comes at a cost, and the cost is starting to display itself as extraordinary rate increases. I can't argue with that statement because the economic development that the state is pushing, while it's needed, very much needed, cost recovery is a huge issue. How do we recover the costs of billions of dollars of transmission improvements or data centers? Who pays for that? I mean, we're talking. They're looking at trying to push data centers in Indiana to be the #1 state in the United States for data centers. But who pays for those infrastructure upgrades? Who pays the taxes on that? They're talking tax abatements in perpetuity for some of these. Is what they're trying to bring these people in. And that's not. I mean, I'm not a politician. I don't have anything to do with all of that. But if it breaks down to who pays for those improvements, and it's the ratepayers. It's you and I in this room and everyone out there, right? And it's not just, well, what we're doing here. it falls into the joint transmission system. So it's the entirety of the joint transmission system that has to upgrade for these larger data centers and all of this economic development. So it's just interesting to see. I mean, that's a true statement. But if you look, the real interesting one is the kind of the where do we fall in these? We fall way down below all of these numbers. Now, I would say that NIPSCO rates and the center point rate is inaccurate. They probably threw some riders in there that actually don't go to residential customers at 1,000 kilowatts. But the rest of them, we're at in the 120s, 1,000 kilowatts. So, all that being said, we're fine and dandy now. But the cost of natural gas has increased through the summer because we've had plant shutdowns, we've had coal shutdowns, retirements, and it's going to continue. This is the trend that's going to continue. And we're using gas peakers right now when it gets hot. We're using, even in our market itself, we're using gas peakers as baseload units. So gas peakers are supposed to hit when it's the hottest and the most. We're using the most electricity in the evenings, in the afternoons and evenings, right? Well, the peakers are running all day and they shut down at night, and they're running all day and they're shutting down at night. So supply and demand, we're using more natural gas costs are going to go up. So just in general, I think our tracker is not going to be negative this next time because energy costs are up for the summer. Because again, and then this whole shift, this whole tectonic shift of renewable, and get rid of coal and baseload plants. Excuse me, I about to spit on you. I'm sorry. And now we're supplementing that with gas, and so now gas prices are going to go up. So the cost of electricity is going to go up on top of everything we talk about with the joint transmission system, and so all the transmission rates have gone up as well. So the auction, they have the annual auction for futures, basically for electric and for both energy and for load, and they were extremely high in the PJM market, which we're not in, but usually MISO follows for that because of constrictions in the market. So we've really enjoyed that 4% less than it was in December 31st. I just don't see that trend happening, and that's solely for energy costs. Even though I know we're still going to be way below these 1,000 kilowatt rates, but it's just not going to continue.
You know, with the direction going to that SMRs, you know, but they're not affordable. So how can that get turned around so that can be an option for?
It's regulation. Regulation's a big deal on those, which I don't know. I mean, can't really get regulation for nuclear stuff. The development cost, again, it's cost recovery of the development. It's cost recovery of doing experimentation. And so like the IURC is allowing Duke and some of the other IOUs to pass that cost recovery out to the residents before you're actually getting revenue from those projects. So I don't have an answer. I don't think anybody does really. And the SMRs are great, and Indiana is trying to push us to be the SMR hub as far as at least the manufacturing of these units, and you know, that's all fine and dandy, but they're still extremely expensive. Now there's two, I believe, and I couldn't tell you where they are, that are in the design phase and have been, I think, almost fully funded. Not in Indiana, in other states. So we'll see how that goes. But we're decades away, I think, from commercial SMRs, large scale SMRs.
NIPSCO's raising its delivery fees too, if you didn't know.
So they are?
They're, same price as the gas you get right now?
Yeah.
But I just seen a bill that said it was going to be more.
Well, municipal utilities in Indiana are far less than any IOU in Indiana, on average. So, public power is important, and public power is it's how we keep small towns like this competitive. And you know, we're a disadvantaged community. What's our MHI? 45,000, I think, for a single household in this town and in this county. In Marion County, I think believes like 75,000. I mean, there's a huge difference between Peru and Marion County, or Miami County and Marion County, and so without public power, you know, we're killing the residents even more. So I'll get off my soapbox. Went to New York. Any questions on that? Just try to give you guys kind of a heads up where the market is. But went to New York. That was a good trip. Got to talk to, like I said, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. Talk about the market and really how the upcoming financial markets are reacting to portfolios with coal, portfolios with gas, portfolios with lots of renewable generation, and IMP is poised for their normal bond rating. They haven't dropped off, so or they're not really going to go up because they have coal in their portfolio, and they look not poorly on that, but it's not an advantage to have coal in your portfolio, even though everybody has coal in their portfolio. But it was interesting to see they don't even have a clue as to what the future holds in the power industry and the energy industry as far as what the next big project is and what the next big technology is. And they're pretty reserved from everyone they hear about, everyone that they have to talk to, especially those going out for bonds for over the next couple of years, that no one has the answer. So that was interesting to hear even from those guys who hear from IMPAs from other states all the time, every month of every year about bonding out new projects and stuff. So, and for the record, IMPA pays for that. Peru Utilities did not pay for that trip. Indiana Municipal Power paid for that trip because I'm on the board. So, any questions at all? No, I'm good. That's all I have.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
We'll get that in.
All those in favor? Unanimous?